fire when Jimmy Lakey's away. Truth on his tongue, little smoke in the air. He'll say the words you won't even dare. Key Leaf, unleashed and unfiltered. Unleashed and unfiltered. Coast to coast and shore to shore we roll. Politics and information. Infotainment revelation. He talks Jesus, he talks real life. We are here for more elation unseen. Oh, the show starts now. He's unafraid. Telling the truth. Why? Faith in his heart, a little fire in his hand. We're having church on the air. Amen. Amen. One time for the truth. One time for the truth. Two times for the king. Three times for the king. Three times for Jimmy Lakey. Three times for Jimmy. Everybody. Casbar's calling on a Tuesday morning. Lafayette waking to the thunder and roar. Doors swing wide at 7:45. You can feel that rumble right through the floor. Smoke curls up with the first lit cigar. Crew rolls in like a rock and roll wave. Unleashed, unfiltered, everything louder. This is the broadcast you crave. The Lakey Unleashed Roadshow is coming. Feel that the crowd is humming. See the Lakey Unleashed broadcast live. Turn it up, we're alive. The Lakey Unleashed Roadshow is coming. Stand up, shout out. Hearts are drumming from the first bright spark to the last big blow. We're unleashed on the roadshow. Chat with a backstage grin. Laura Carno walks in. Crowd goes crazy. This is where the legends begin. 1 year riding that inauguration whirlwind. Voices raised. Yeah, we're marking the date. Laughter, lightning, truth in the crossfire. You can feel the shake in the stage. You can feel that shake in the state.
Oh, dirty.
Jimmy says unleashed. Jimmy says unfiltered. Cigars in the air, we own this town. Casbar's rocking walls come down. The Lakey Unleashed Roadshow is coming. Feel that the crowd is humming. See the Lakey Unleashed broadcast live. Turn it up, we're alive. The Lakey Unleashed Roadshow is coming. Stand up, shout out. Hearts are drumming from the first bright spark to the last big blow. We're unleashed on the roadshow.
All right, welcome to the program, everybody. It's Tuesday, the 20th day of January, year of our Lord, 2026. Laura Carno is staring at me. I don't know what to do. That scares me when she stares at me. It's been a long time since I had a woman glare at me like that. I don't know if that could end up in court here real soon. Good morning. We're live from Casbar Cigar, Lafayette, Colorado. Our first of the Roadshow tour this year. Texas, we're coming to you next. I'm telling you, we're coming to you next. How do you like the new headphones? They're kind of sexy, aren't they? They're noise canceling because there's a lot of noise in this room, and these are the earbuds I usually use. So Stacy Miller Pratt jumps in from Texas and asks if she can have a cigar. Listen, it's a free state you live in. You can have a cigar any damn time you want to. So thank you. Arloa jumps in on the screen from East Texas, and she says, good morning. So Arloa, we got the YouTube channel on over there. Was that flying there? You guys can see the comments here. Room full of mostly men. There's Judy Pfeiffer, good friend. Laura Carno's here. And yes, all the Famali stayed home. They all stayed home. It's a testosterone-laced room, and it's going to be good. All right, we got a big-time show for you today. If you don't have your if you're here in the house, don't forget there's burritos, there's bacon. I don't know if we haven't announced this. I hate to tease all of you on the program right now watching your cross on the live streams, wherever you're watching at. We have bacon wrapped cinnamon rolls here. They just arrived, compliments of Miss Judy Pfeiffer, and she just brought those in, and they're over there. So if you're in the room, you can go get a bacon wrapped cinnamon roll. If you're not in the room, don't be jealous. We're apologizing for you that you're not here. It sucks to be you, doesn't it? It sucks to be you. All right, who's going to jail in Minnesota? I vote for the Timmy Waltz. How will Tim Waltz fare in prison? I don't think Tim Waltz is going to do very well in prison. You're going to have to, that boy better have his soap on a rope. That's all I can tell you is Timmy Waltz is not going to do very well in prison. The mayor of Minneapolis, has that guy showered in a while? He looks kind of greasy and oily, and we'll talk about that throughout the course of the morning. There is a probe going on. I don't mean a prison probe for Timmy Waltz. There is a probe that's happening, and that is Don Limon is facing some investigation as to whether or not you can storm a church building. And there's two acts in place. One of those was yesterday, the FACE Act, in which basically you can't block access to a building or a place of worship. It was passed by the old Democrats because they didn't want old ladies singing hymns and praying in front of abortion clinics, and said you can't block the access to abortion clinics. And so some old ladies went to jail, and President Trump pardoned them. Well, Don Lemon has also violated something called the KKK Act. That was back when the Democrats had the KKK as their activist arm, and the KKK was not allowed to intimidate you, storm into a house of worship. So Don Lemon, he may be denying it, but Don Lemon has actually been put on notice by the Department of Justice that he is being looked at for violating two federal laws. And so Don Lemon could be a cellmate of Tim Waltz, and that would probably be very good for both of them. Who's the little spoon in that one? I don't know, Tim Waltz or Don Lemon. I don't know who's the big spoon. Is it Timmy or is it Don Lemon? I'm not sure. Both of them better keep their soap on a rope. But seriously, the DOJ Department of Justice Civil Rights Division has put ex-CNN host Don Lemon on notice for joining an anti-ICE protest and interrupting a house of worship. This is according to Harmeet Dillon. She is the Civil Rights Division chief, and she's now saying that there's a full-on investigation. The Assistant Attorney General has already confirmed that they're investigating for federal freedom of access to clinics entrance by church crashers, and also a old civil rights, Civil War type of early 1900s bill that said you cannot intimidate in church with the KKK. So Don and Timmy, you might want to see if you can face trial in the exact same place so that you can be cellmates together. Also, last night, anybody watch college football? I watched the college football. There's something about Fernando that I like. I like Fernando Mendoza. He's a sharp guy. Played a very nice game. Just see that play where they thought they were going to do the field goal. The field goal is going to go up, and then they decide, heck, let's put Fernando back on the field. And I said, well, put Fernando back on the field. And the guy dives across 6-7 yards out, goes in, sacrifices his body, and that was a very good win for the Indiana team. If you're a Miami fan, sucks to be you. But, hey, go Fernando. I like Fernando. Did very, very good. Anybody see the Donald Trump reception he got last night? They like old Donald at the NCAA National Championship. He appeared on the screen, and the crowd goes wild for him, and so we can talk more about that. What is it about Donald Trump? He makes it to all these sporting events. He goes to wrestling events, or that's not wrestling. What's that called, producer Chad? WWF? UCF, thank you. He goes to the UCF events. They love him. UFC. We don't know what we're talking about here. Sports is not our. If we can talk politics, and we'll know that. But the thing where they beat each other up, that's the one. They like him there. They like him there as well. So yeah, that was a good. See Donald Trump singing the national anthem and has had his grandkids right there. And I know the left doesn't like to humanize the guy, but doggone it, he's a pretty good guy, and he's got grandkids. And first and foremost, he's there, and the crowd goes wild. I thought that was pretty exciting. All right, all this stuff in Minnesota, when will it end? How will it end? And is anybody going to go to jail? We see these protests. We see these riots. President Trump has yet stalled on declaring the Insurrection Act, where he could send troops in there and calm things down. Maybe he should, maybe he shouldn't, but is anybody ever going to go to jail for all the destruction and violence they're doing in the state of Minnesota, assaulting officers? And here's what I wish the administration would do. President Trump, I'm looking right in my camera right now. If you're watching this show, which you're probably not, but if you could be possibly watching the show later, maybe you're going to listen on the podcast. He probably listens on the podcast. I'm thinking he does. President Trump, we'd like to know who's getting charged in this stuff. Start handing out the perp sheet. Start showing us their mug shots. Hopefully somebody's getting their ass arrested there in the great state of Minnesota, or formerly great state of Minnesota. So I think that would be a great deterrent if they started releasing the names of everybody that's been arrested, the charges filed against them. And here's another great question. Is Kamala Harris going to start bailing these people out? Remember the George Floyd riots? Kamala Harris was paying bail. As soon as they went to jail, Kamala Harris went over there and she said they're going to keep protesting. She was part of the bailout campaign. I'd like to know if anybody's bailing these sons of guns out. So let us know, President Trump, or whoever can do that. Release all the names one by one. Let everybody know which families were involved, which parents were involved, which kids were involved. Let us know. We'd like to know who's being charged on this nonsense. It's happening over and over again in the great state of Minnesota. So we would like to know that. Anybody here? I've said this for a long time. Mexico is a narco-terrorist state, just like Venezuela is. It's a state that is somewhat problematic in importing drugs into this country. And now there's a story out that Mexico's not real happy with America, and they have decided to further weaponize illegal immigration to punish the United States. I'll give the details here. And this is, you can find this on Just the News. It'll go up on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Jimmy Lakey fan page. In February of 2023, Jose Gerardo Rodolfo Fernando Noronha. That's his name. I didn't give him his name. His mama evidently had lots of people to name it after. Let me say it again for those of you playing the home game. Jose Gerardo Rodolfo Fernando Noronha. I thought John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt was a longer who used to sing as a kid. I want to do it again just because I want to practice my Spanish, and I feel like I could go to a Mexican restaurant after the show. Jose Gerardo Rodolfo Fernandez Noronha. See how I got the little trill on the end there? I practiced hard for that. He's a member of the Mexican Parliament, in case you didn't know who he was. And he's also with Claudia Sheinbaum's ruling party, and he stood on the floor of the Congreso de la Union, and he declared that California, Texas, and Mexico were occupied territories and that they need to take it back from Mexico. He went on to say that Mexico should now review their dispossession of this occupied territory. Again, it's the state of California, Texas, and New Mexico, and also parts of Colorado. When he showed the map, were in there as well. So if you're in Colorado, I need to let you know that Jose Gerardo Rodolfo Fernandez Noronha, I got faster at that because I practiced. Jose Gerardo Rodolfo Fernandez Noronha. He wants to take back part of the state of Colorado, all of the state of New Mexico, Texas, and California. He says you are living in an occupied land and you need to surrender. And he says one of the ways he can do that is one of the way we can reconquista, or the reconquest of Colorado, New Mexico, Texas, and California, is by sending more illegal aliens here. And we get more illegal aliens, and we can one day reconquista Colorado, Texas, New Mexico, and California. So all of you folks here from this great state of Colorado, be careful, because it sounds like a member of the parliament in the state or the nation of Mexico, Jose Gerardo Rodolfo Fernando Noronha, is about to send people to come and see you. And so be very, very, very careful. If you see Jose Gerardo Rodolfo Fernandez Noronha, he could be coming for your house because evidently you're living in occupied territory. So all of you be careful if you see a guy named Jose Gerardo Rodolfo Fernandez Noronha walking the streets. It could be that he's coming to take your house away because you're living in occupied lands. Ladies and gentlemen, we're live from the Casbar Cigar Lounge in Lafayette, Colorado. I had a cigar. Oh, my cigar's here. I have my cigar. Our old buddy, private investigator, famed extraordinary private investigator from L.A., is now in the green room. And unfortunately, he couldn't join us live, but he's in the green room. We have the screens up. You guys get to see him out there? Is that up on the screen? It's not. Okay, you're just going to have to imagine what Nils Gravilius looks like. And listen, if any of you are homosexuals, you're going to stumble in your walk with the Lord right now. It's going to be that good. I mean, Nils Gravilius, I have to not... Listen, he's sexy. Laura, don't look. Laura Carno's in the house. Don't look. Don't look. She's already fanning herself. She knows that all of Nils Gravilius and all of his glory is coming to the stage. Famed private investigator from Los Angeles, Nils Gravilius. How are you, sir?
I don't think I've ever enjoyed a more beautiful day, Jimmy Lakey. How are you?
I'm very well. I've got a cigar. What's your problem? Are you missing out here, my friend? Yes.
Well, I have a tendency to over-enjoy things like cigars, Mr. Lakey, and I'll tell you what I'll do.
Okay.
If I survive to the ripe old age of 90, I'll take cigars up again.
You know, George Burns outlived his doctor. I think it was George Burns. They always said, you got to stop smoking cigars. And George Burns said, I lived 20 years longer than my doctor. He's been dead long ago. So it's a very good thing. You can choose to have a cigar. I'll smoke one on your behalf, sir. How are you?
Well, I'm fantastic, Jimmy. Tell me how you are.
Well, I'm good. Thank you for asking. I really appreciate the concern about me, and it's not about me. It's about you, Nils. Nils, real quick, you've got a book coming out. Let's just hit that right up front. It's called The Last Lawman, and we got a live audience here, and thousands of earballs will hear this show by the end of the day. Talk about your book. It's your experience, your memoirs as a private detective and investigator based out of California, but talk about the new book that's coming out. Then we'll get into some news stories.
It is The Last Lawman, Jimmy. It is more than 30 years of street experience, apprehending fugitives, investigating public corruption, picking apart conspiracies that are actual, not theoretical, recovering stolen property, finding dead men when the police are a bit too conflicted or busy, things like that.
It's called The Last Lawman. People can get it on Amazon and you pre-order that thing and have it shipped to their door. You're a lawman. Let me ask you a question about what we're watching in Minneapolis. We have these trained resistors that are out there, paid agitators, if you will, that are causing problems for ICE. Give me your thoughts as a law expert, a crime expert, and also we have this story about this Renee Good lady that was trained. We still don't have the videotape of her wife. Give me your thoughts. So you're watching this from a different perspective than the rest of us, Nils Gravilius. What are your thoughts on the crimes being committed in Minneapolis against ICE?
Well, it's a crime committed against the entire country when they obstruct justice, and that's the problem. We're allowing two countries to exist within our borders. This is an awful lot like Fort Sumter in 1860, Jimmy. They don't want to live under the laws of the country, yet when they hold power, they ruthlessly enforce all laws within the country. I think Eric Holder took a lot of time and trouble to establish in the courts the certainty that the states cannot enforce immigration law, as you'll recall. Mm-hmm. So they want it both ways. And really, they don't care about illegal aliens, and they don't care about Renee Good. And I don't hate Renee Good, and I don't hate this woman, her wife, that sort of thing. In a way, they're pathetic. Their entire lives are wrapped up in Marxist organizing, that sort of thing. They were imported to Minneapolis to do this. You can't identify any business, any employer, that sort of thing. Their money is coming from NGOs, meaning probably from taxpayers as well as from men like George Soros. We have to rip this out at the root. We need to go after people like Keith Ellison and Tim Waltz and bring them in. You'll notice that these riots never occur where they don't have control of the local government. Without partners in local government, they can't riot.
Yeah. If you're listening later on the program, it's a podcast version. You don't see his name on the screen. It's Nils Gravilius, famed private detective, and talking about Minneapolis. They're hearing now that not just are the Department of Justice looking into Timmy Waltz and to Keith Ellison for obstruction of justice. Now we're hearing that television guy, Don Lemon, for obstructing a house of worship on Sunday with a bunch of protesters interrupting. He's being looked at by the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice. Give me your thoughts on that, Niels.
Well, let's do a little bit of comparison and contrast, won't we, Mr. Lakey? How about if me and Jimmy Lakey and Laura, his producer, we decided we were going to invade the 11th Street Mosque to conduct a political protest in the middle of their prayers at the 11th Street Mosque. Wouldn't we be charged with a hate crime by Keith Ellison?
I would guess so. I'm guessing we would be charged.
So under the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution, that's inequality under the law. And I think Harmeet Dillon is going to land on these protesters and probably Attorney General Ellison like a collapsing building. Ellison says that you have to put up with it. You're running your church services. You have to allow people to riot inside your church. I promise you, if you go into his mosque and riot inside his mosque, you're going to get arrested and charged. Yeah. You're going to get a beat down from the Islamic parishioners, and you're going to get charged with a hate crime. So let's give them a bit of their sauce. Let's pour the sauce on their goose and their gander. What do you say, Mr. Lakey?
I pour the sauce on the goose and the gander. I got to process that one. It sounds like a Thanksgiving meal about to happen. I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work. But what's good for the goose, Niels, is good for the gander.
So the name of the book is The Last Lawman. It will be delivered in June. It's available for pre-order on Amazon. Some of you know a little bit about the Pinkerton service. I want to assure you, Jimmy Lakey, that we operated in almost complete secrecy, almost like an espionage agency around Southern California, protecting people, protecting institutions, identifying malefactors making threats, recovering stolen property, undercover narcotics operations, anything that could tickle your imagination and those of your viewers, Mr. Lakey.
Nils Gravilius, I know you're a big fan of Dan Bongino. He's now served his time in the government. He's back in the private sector. What do you expect to hear from Dan Bongino now that he's no longer obligated to keep his mouth closed? Do you expect that we're going to learn some things that were happening in the FBI? We would love to if he can speak.
Does Howdy Doody have a wooden nose? I think we're going to hear some interesting things. I don't think he'll violate official secrecy of the FBI, but I think that if anybody can lampoon the deep state that he had to wade through for a year working at the Bureau as deputy director, it'll be Danny Bongino. The man has an amazing ability to characterize things, to use ribald and sarcastic commentary to flavor it. And I think he's going to use it to create lots of content for Silverlock, his production company. I'm really looking forward to this. He and Paula are great Americans. And Jimmy, I think there's much more to come.
Much more to come from Dan Bongino. Nils Gravilius, I appreciate you. Nils, I know you like unsolved crimes. We've actually talked about this one before. We're usually really close to Boulder, and now we're even closer. We're actually broadcasting live from Boulder, Colorado. Give me your thoughts. Maybe you and I can go do some investigating of our own. I'm not too far right now from the house that John Benet Ramsey was killed in. Is this an unsolved crime that you have investigated, looked at, bantied about in your little private investigator mind?
I've looked at this over and over again, Jimmy, and this is what I'm going to say. I think that the way that the police approached the whole thing from the very start makes prosecuting any identified suspect extremely difficult. They treated it as a kidnapping at first and then contaminated their own crime scene. The best way for the police to get A successful prosecution of Jean Monet's murderer is with a confession that is corroborated by physical evidence, meaning a man who says, I did it, and his DNA or his fingerprints or his weapon or his something can corroborate the confession he makes. There have been men who have confessed to this crime. In noteworthy cases, that's very common for neurotics and crazies to come out of the woodwork, and they get a little bit of, their 5 minutes of attention and that sort of thing. But I don't hold out hope, and I can't help but be a bit disgusted when I see some press release saying that, there's new evidence in the Jean Monnet case, that sort of thing. There is no new evidence. They're not creating new evidence. They're not, my belief is that the Boulder police know who did or have a very good idea who did this and probably interviewed that person or attempted to interview that person several times.
So you think they actually know and just don't have the evidence to bring a charge?
Well, there's probably one or two detectives who say, I think this guy did it. This guy's good for it. But the way that it was mishandled and the fact that the person is lawyered up or something like that, they just can't drive the case forward pending, unless there's some new break in the case. And there is no new break. I've heard this 20 times since her murder, that they got new evidence, that sort of thing. And I have not seen anything to suggest that they are anywhere near solving this.
Let me ask you, you're a famed private investigator, writing a book called The Last Lawman, all your years in Pinkerton Service, your own private investigative firm. Is there any unsolved mystery or crime in America that you're like, please give me a crack at it. Let me have the evidence. I think I can make a case for you. Is there one that keeps Detective Nils Gravilius awake at night?
Ashley Oakland. She was a realtor murdered in 2011 in West Des Moines, Iowa. She was showing a model home. She was conducting like an open house at a model home. And she was shot twice and died. Attractive young woman. There's a lot of talk of realtors being murdered in various states, showing homes by opportunistic predators. I was living and working in Iowa contemporaneous with her murder. And I know certain things about it from having spoken to a couple of the police officers involved in the investigation, which tell me they probably have already interviewed her murderer a couple of times, and the Iowa Department of Criminal Investigation has not closed the deal on that, Jimmy.
Wow. Nils Gravilius, it's a privilege. If there's a room full of people here and people watching, thousands of people across America will watch and or hear this show throughout the day today, either live or they're watching it now or they're going to listen to the podcast version. If they need a private investigator, you're not going to hunt down their spouse now. You're not doing that kind of stuff. You're not doing divorce court stuff. You do real stuff.
Well, I mean, there are private detectives, Jimmy, who do that. I've seen a lot of bad stuff. Like I've seen private detectives who go to the husband who's cheating and say, now, Jimmy Lakey, how much money are you going to pay me to tell your missus that you're a good boy? I've seen private detectives who go out and hire a cocktail waitress from another town as a ringer. And they have Jimmy Lakey have a few beers at a barbecue, and suddenly there's an attractive redhead sitting in his lap. And that's caught on photo. Now, Mrs. Lakey, if you pay us another $20,000, we think we can figure out who this mysterious redhead is. I've seen private detectives do things like that. It's not common, but it does occur. So people should know that they're making themselves vulnerable if they expose themselves in that way to a stranger, their most intimate things. One must use very good judgment in going after situations like this.
All right. If anybody needs a private investigator, GraviliusPI.com, esteemed and famed private detective Nils Gravilius. And I appreciate you hopping on here, sir. And when you turn 90, I'm going to be there. We're going to have a cigar together.
I'll smoke two just with you, Jimmy Lakey.
That sounds like a song for a country music style. Smoke two just with you. Niels Gravilius, I appreciate you, my friend. Thanks for hopping in. Famed private investigator. The chat room's going crazy. People have love affairs with in their mind with Niels Gravilius. All the people pop-up comments you see on the screen. I love the detective. I love the detective. Someone else all the chat room chats about whenever they watch the show is when I say that Laura Carno is in the house. And so, ladies and gentlemen, Brother Leroy and the Jimmy Lakey Mass Choir decided that since Laura is so she's been on my radio show over 10 years. She's joined the live podcast, broadcast, and streamcast that we're doing now. Ladies and gentlemen, Laura Carno is in the house, and she now has her own theme song just for today. Compliments of Brother Leroy.
Good morning, USA. Lakey Unleash on the way from Casbar, Cigar. We bounce. Fan favorite back in the house. Over a decade on this show. Sharp mind ready to go from DC spin to Colorado clouds. She calls the dumb and dummies out. Laura Carno is in the house. Smartest woman in Colorado, no doubt. Got to bear arms, she'll say it out loud. Once your kid's safe in every school crowd, Lake Laura, take her, turn it up now. Lake Laura, America's listening now. She's got answers, she's got facts. Heart for kids, she's got your back. Hit that site, get it done. FasterColorado.com. Laura Carno is in the house. Smartest woman in Colorado. No crowds out. Bear arms. She'll say it out loud. Good morning, USA.
There you go, Brother Leroy, right to their arms, and that's good stuff.
Wow. Thank you, Brother Leroy, and thank you, Jimmy.
You're welcome. Right to bear arms, and I think it says something about you packing heat as well.
I mean, I always might be.
You always might be. A lot of folks in this room right now packing heat. I know who they are.
This is what I understand, yes.
I see the jackwagons that comment in their chat room, and so we make sure we're fully protected, and I make sure you're closer to the door than I am. That's what we do. I want you to be over there. Good morning, Laura Carno. Thanks for making the trek up to Lafayette, Colorado.
Absolutely. I mean, when I heard you were going to be, at least in my, not zip code, area code, time zone.
Well, you almost live in Kansas. I mean, this is like,
I know.
this is far away.
Yeah, I stayed up here last night. I actually had a late meeting yesterday, got here about 11:30 last night. So a little sleep deprived, a little caffeine supplemented.
You said you couldn't drive up in the morning because it takes a long time to dress yourself up.
At my advanced age, it takes some time to do hair and makeup to look presentable to humans in person.
You can tell a lot of these guys don't follow the same rules around here. Their hair and makeup is a little bit slack.
Well, they're guys. There are different rules for ladies.
Why is that? Why are there different rules for ladies?
I don't know. I mean, guys look distinguished with gray hair. Me, not so much. I got to get it colored all the time.
You're that guys. You look distinguished in this place right now. And no hair. Let's see. We got no hair, no hair. No hair, no hair, no hair. It's about most of the guys just shaved it off. Evidently, they don't think they look distinguished with gray hair.
That's not an option.
Not an option for you?
I would not look presentable. That's not an option.
That mic is cutting out, I think, a little bit. I don't know if you can check that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Laura Carno is in the house. Good to have you here. Laura, Laura Carno, you have fastcolorado.org. I'm getting a weird feedback there.
Presentable.
I hope it's not going good.
Shaved head.
I think we had a glitch in the matrix there. It sounded strange. A glitch in the matrix. Laura, first of all, tell everybody what Faster Colorado does, who you are. You're Laura Carno, but Faster Colorado is your organization. You're keeping school kids safe and making sure if a school shooting does occur, that the teachers and staff are ready to take it on.
Yeah, we're entering our 10th training year, and you're exactly right. Those school districts that have said, yes, we want armed security teams, they are able to have teachers and coaches and whoever on their on their teams who have been vetted and approved and all that stuff, they need to get training if they're going to be armed on school campuses to protect children. And that's what we do at Faster Colorado. We have their annual training. They take the same tests that cops take. We actually make it a little bit harder, and a great group of people. We've trained over 500 people in the last 10 years. So it's people can go to fastercolorado.org, find out more. I would recommend that people look at the Our Team tab and see all of the vast experience that our instructors have. They really make the program work.
See, you get all sorts of comments. I just looked in the chat room, and unfortunately, our monitor is not working here for people here can see it. But Stacy Miller Pratt just said, "We love that smart woman, Laura." No one ever says they love that smart guy, Jimmy.
I can't help that, Jimmy.
Well, you're welcome. All right, we're here because it's the 1-year anniversary of the Trump inauguration. Last year, we were at this exact location. We're doing it again. Let's talk about the first year of the Trump administration. If you could give it a grade, would it be an A, B, C, D, or F? How would you grade the thing?
Well, it's kind of like saying you go to high school and you got to have maybe you get an A in science, but an F in math or something like that. For me, the Trump administration is kind of like that. There are things we talk almost every week about this. I don't even agree with myself half of the time. I'm not going to agree with anything any politician does 100% of the time. There's some great things. We are absolutely safer. The deals that he's made worldwide that have created more peace, shutting the border, getting out criminals who have come across the border and killed people and brought fentanyl. There's no doubt that we're safer. We can talk about tariffs. We always debate about tariffs.
You're not a big fan of the tariffs. Talk about. Oh, look, our Loa just jumped in. Sorry you can't see it here. It says, "How nice to have Jimmy and Laura together at the same time and location. Two great people with two great causes." Laura, fist bump here.
All right. Laura likes you too.
Our Loa does.
She likes you. Yeah. So on the tariffs, I like.
By the way, is Oliver here? We have an Oliver? Yeah, that's you. I don't see Oliver.
I don't see Oliver either.
I think he's in the care home. I don't know.
We love Oliver. Be nice.
Yeah, he says dirty things sometimes. Not really dirty. For an old guy, he's not like perverted. Well, kind of perverted. Never mind. Let's move on.
It might be your interpretation, to be fair.
Listen, I have an interpretation through most lenses like a junior high school kid. I'm like, that's you said duty. Yeah, tariffs and duties. Yeah, you say that. I'm like, duties.
You're like my 12-year-old brother. Yes, I understand this.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, so tariffs, I love when they have been used very strategically. And if all of these strategic, we're going to tariff you like you tariff us, or we're going to tariff you until you stop killing people in your country. I like that as leverage. I like it when it's on its way to zero tariffs across the board, because I'm a big free trader. I get it. I got lots of friends who really love the president's tariff strategy, and I get it. But I want to go in the direction of free trade. I'm not convinced long term it's the economy, but we're still in the short term.
We're going to do some tariffs if you don't support us taking over Greenland. Do you like those tariffs?
Okay. So President, now we're getting to the subjects where I might not have graded him an A. So he's not the first president to say Greenland is significantly strategic. And you look at the maps, and we never look at Greenland in the center of a map because it's way up top, right? But it's between us and Russia. And
wait, half the guys here think the world is flat, and so they're like, "What? It's up top? You mean it's over there?"
Yeah. When you look over the edge of the end of the earth, yes.
There's Greenland. It's Greenland. It's on the edge.
But it's in between us and Russia. So if we're going to have the Golden Dome, it's to protect us against stuff like that, and it goes right over Greenland. So he's not the first person to say that Greenland is strategic. But okay, I'll keep it clean. Don't be an a-hole to our friends and say, I'm going to punish you if you don't sell me your country. I taught the grandkids this weekend we had the grandkids, and I taught them the meaning of what does it mean to attract more flies with honey than vinegar? And it just had to do with them fighting and stuff. But it's the same thing that I just taught the grandkids. Like, persuade them. Come up with a great, what is great about Greenland being a part or protected by or whatever the United States. I think it would be fabulous. But persuade them, don't threaten them. And what's interesting is you're not hearing a whole lot of Trump's inner circle or the pundits on TV defending the way he's doing it. Not that he's doing it, but the way he's doing it. And it's not the first time that I'm saying to the president, again, he's probably not listening to me, but not the first.
More likely listening to you than me, because I can see the chat room. Everybody listens to you, not me. Hundreds of folks tuned in right now just because you're on.
He could be Oliver.
It could be Oliver.
The president.
You think president's disguised as Oliver?
Yeah.
He's making some pretty risque comments about you, Laura.
It's Oliver.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if he was listening, which he's probably not, I would just say, maybe like my grandma used to say, just use your manners. Just use your manners, and you might get more than.
What did you mean when you said the word a-hole?
Do you people see what I put up with?
I'm incorrigible. That's what you call me.
He is incorrigible, adorable, incorrigible.
I am adorable. You're welcome.
Incorrigible.
So what did you mean when you used the word a-hole?
You're not getting me to cuss on air, dude.
Okay. She's no fun producer.
Off air.
She's got a mouth like a sailor off air. She's not even denying that.
Yeah, no, I do.
Curse like a sailor. All right, Laura Carno, we are about in that season that you and I have done, talked about and analyzed for 10 years. As we call it, the Dome of Dummies. It was referenced in your intro song. The Colorado legislature has now gavelled into session, and everybody should hold onto your wallet and remember the state as you know it today, because they're about to F it up really good down at the Dome of Dummies. Give me what's going to be happening in Colorado. What are you keeping your eye on?
Yes, we need to remember that no man's life, liberty, or property is safe while the legislature is in session. An old phrase that is we remember every year. So the Democrats have been in charge of absolutely everything for a very long time. So they had last year, they passed all of the liberal stuff. And so the question this year is what is left for them to do? And they passed a bunch of stuff saying, for example, we're going to make energy more affordable. We're going to solve violent crime. And they passed all these laws that were supposed to do that. Everybody listening and everybody in this room knew that they were lying. They're just trying to get their socialist utopia where, everybody is unsafe and poor. So you would think that somebody there would say, hey, we did these things, which were, all of the solutions were more government, and they didn't work to make us safer or to reduce our energy costs, or, maybe keep our energy on when there's wind, for example. But what their answer is this year, how about even more government? So it's going to be very interesting to see what that all looks like, not just because they still have every seat of power here, but it's also, we're coming up on an election. So these state legislators are going to need to run on something. Michael Bennett or Phil Wise, or whoever's going to be their gubernatorial nominee, they are going to be saddled with Jared Polis's record. And so it's going to be very interesting to see how they play that.
You mentioned Jared Polis. We're almost done with Jared. Is Jared Polis going to moderate his viewpoints and finally say, well, I want to be national, so I need to be more moderate? Or is this giving him carte blanche now that he's a lame duck to be the bat crap crazy libtard that he probably really wants to be? Or is he going to pose so that he can run for national office?
Yeah, and that's the question. Do you think that he's done with his political career, or do you think he wants to run for president? I think he wants to run for president. And as we've seen time and time again over the decades, and we're seeing this, by the way, with Gavin Newsom right now, too, where he actually had Ben Shapiro on his podcast and put out all of these moderate kinds of positions, had to walk him back because his left base kind of attacked him for it. But same with Jared Polis. And I'll give you the evidence that Jared Polis is saying, yes, I think Tina Peters may have been over sentenced. And there's some wisdom in that, whether you think she broke the law or didn't break the law. The truck driver that killed those people in the fiery crash, if you look at the proportionality of what he was sentenced and Tina Peters for her crime, you can look at that and say, gosh, does this actually balance out? And I think that's the point that he's making. He actually brought up the fiery crash guy the other day. And I always forget, I'm not very cool, so I always forget the singers. Who was the person who told Jared Polis that he should look at that fiery crash
Oh,
guy?
gosh.
I always say Beyonce, and you tell me I'm wrong.
Who was it? I remember the singer that called him. I forgot. Yeah, somebody called him.
It's not. I always say Beyonce. It was a Kardashian. You're correct. See, I'm not very cool, and I don't know who Beyonce is anyway. But, so that was his language. He said, "Gosh, this guy got this much. Tina Peters got this much. Does that look balanced?" So I think he's going to try and actually make overtures, not to the hard right Republicans, because they're never going to support him, but to people in the middle, to say, gosh, he's a Democrat, but he actually let this Republican lady out who's elderly and got into there's a story overnight that there was some kind of an incident in prison and between her and another inmate that they're investigating. So I think he's trying to moderate because he's going to run for president. So he might be in a position of vetoing some really bad stuff. So that's something to look forward to.
Are there any moderate Dems? And we know Jared Polis is going to try to pose as one when he runs for president. Are there in Colorado any of these moderates? We don't have a Fetterman in Colorado, do we? There's just no one of reason in the Democrat Party. The whole thing's been hijacked.
Yeah, we really don't, Jimmy. And we have like Julie McCluskey, who's the Speaker of the House. She is definitely a leftist Democrat. But the issue is that there is the group that is so much further left, Steve Woodrow and Tom Sullivan and those guys who are so far left. Remember a couple of years ago, the Hamas caucus? And so the more normal people, I'm not going to say centrist Democrats, but the less crazy Democrats made sure that they got primaried because they had originally gained their offices through vacancy committees. But when they came up for election, the less crazy people made sure that they got primaried so that they're gone. So it's the Overton window on the left has shifted so far left, but we don't have any of those. Back in the day, we had pro-gun Democrats, and across the country, we had pro-gun Democrats in Congress, and that's just not a thing anymore for the most part, except for Fetterman, and that's nobody. I didn't see that coming when he was running.
No.
I thought he was going to be the far left poster child.
I just saw pop on the screen, said Polis is going to say he made Colorado safer. You run an organization trying to keep schools safe. Do you feel that Jared Polis has made Colorado safer, not just on the streets, but our public schools? What say you? Because that's your whole objective of Faster Colorado, to keep kids safe.
Right. And so it's not just schools, but it's like we are number one in a whole bunch of crime now. And back in 2013, when
we're still number one in bank robbery. I don't know if anybody knows that. We're still number one in bank robbery.
Isn't that crazy? And we've had more school shootings than any other state. But those 2013 gun laws, where they looked us in the eye and said, you will be safer because of these gun laws. That is when crime started going up, because what criminals believe is, so if I go over here where law-abiding citizens are not allowed to carry, I can just have a field day. There won't be gunfire coming back at me. And all of that has made Colorado less safe. Remember when they said, well, if you steal a car, but it's valued only at under, I forget what the number was, $2,500, then it's a misdemeanor, not a felony. And you're like, okay, so if you steal a poor person's car because they have an older car, a less expensive car, now you have an incentive because it's a lesser crime. But if you go steal somebody's fancy car, like your fancy car, Jimmy, then it's a felony. You're welcome. Then it's a felony, and it's like, why do the Democrats hate poor people? Why did you just pass a law saying go take the poor people's car and leave the rich people's cars alone? They passed so many laws like that, and even the Republicans tried to say try to increase penalties when people use guns for crimes. You would think if we are trying to reduce gun crime, that a law that says if you use a gun in the commission of a crime, you get extra penalties, and the Democrats killed it because they didn't want a good gun bill sponsored by Republicans to pass.
Wow. If you're listening later in the day to the podcast version, that's Laura Carno, her website, fastercolorado.com, fastercolorado.com.
Or org.
Or .org. Both work.
Definitely .org.
.org.
Yes.
Fastercolorado.org. Sorry. Got to tell Brother Leroy he got it wrong in the song.
It's
as
okay.
Well. You know what? My fancy car. I miss my Porsche. I really do. I got rid of it. You know what I'm driving right at this moment? This today.
Tell me.
The last 2 Sundays of my life, my car. It's my mother moved to memory care, so I brought her car here to Colorado, and so I've been driving around her little car. And the last 2 Sundays, that car has left me stranded in an intersection on the side of the road. Tow truck in, they can't figure it out. My car's at the shop. Neighbor of mine loaned me a little Mazda for the day to drive around because my car's in the shop. Don't give me a lip about my fancy car. I miss my Porsche so much.
You're a man of the people today.
I'm a man of the people today. A man of the people. Yeah, I'm a man of the people. This thing actually has heater in it where it works, I think.
Does it have the windows that roll down like this?
No, it's a good Mazda. It's a good Mazda, but I'm driving it, and it's different. It's different, yeah. But so I basically say I'm driving an old lady's car for my daily driver now because I have my mother's old car because she's not driving anymore, and it's so fancy. She had a mobility scooter that it has a crane in the back of it. Open the back of this Toyota, it will lift up a mobility scooter, but I don't need one. But I've actually thought about maybe I could get a better parking spot if I used I don't know. I thought about zipping in here this morning in a mobility scooter just to feel fancy, but then I'm not in the right car to do that. So,
okay, and you wanted people to feel sorry for you.
You don't feel sorry for me?
Not a bit.
Laura Carno, fastercolorado.org. Last question about the state legislature. What should we be watching? Gun laws, cultural attacks? Are we going to get? What will the Democrats attack next down the state legislature? Because Republicans pretty much have no say in the legislature.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to be keeping an eye on the gun bills for sure. There's already a gun bill that dropped about red flag laws, and now this bill seeks to expand the number of people, the types of people who can red flag somebody, and we all can agree that we don't want criminally mentally ill people to be getting guns. I think we all can agree on that. But these laws can be so misused, and they have been so misused across the country. So if they expand it to everybody who's been on your radio show, and you and I get in a fight, which we would never do because we love each other after 10 years. But if you keep expanding the number of people who can red flag somebody, you can have an ex-girlfriend, an ex-boyfriend, an ex-husband say, yeah, that person is really dangerous, go take their guns. And we can't have law enforcement going after innocent people with zero due process. So these red flag laws are very fraught with danger. But we're going to keep an eye. Are we going to see another attempted assault weapon ban, that kind of thing? One thing that's interesting is that the Democrats have increased the number of Democrats on committees. Sometimes they look like 5-4, 6-3, that kind of thing. They've expanded even more the number of Democrats because the more normal Democrats don't believe that they have the votes to keep the really crazy stuff out. So they've had to increase the number of normal Democrats so that they can offset the number of crazy Democrats.
Laura Carno, you made a long trek up here. You still don't feel sorry for me. You added your own song. That's okay.
I am honored by the song, and I'm happy to see you. And you gave me 5 exclamation points on an email saying you're looking forward to seeing me. So I think you were really happy about this.
Laura Carno, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much. LauraCarno.org.com or fastercolorado.org. Laura is there in just a minute. By the way, Michael Letts is in the green room. We'll bring him up in just a second. And after Michael Letts, R.P. Newman is going to be on the program. He's a retired recon Marine ground combat veteran, author of 17 books and the forthcoming Iran's War of Annihilation. He's a guest analyst on Fox News, Newsmax, and others, terrorism consultant. He's coming up in just a couple of minutes after Michael Letts. R.P. Newman, those of us who are close to him, we know him as Gunny Bob, but R.P. Newman is how, if you watch Fox News or Newsmax, you know him as R.P. Newman. So R.P. Newman coming up live in the house as well. I see that Roger, who's actually sitting over to my left, is on the screen, says he feels sorry for me. So Roger, thank you for your sympathy. I appreciate it. It's going to be a $1,600 repair on that car. 2 times it's been on the tow truck. The last 2 Sundays it's left me stranded. This past Sunday, I was went out in the intersection, and I had to wait for a Good Samaritan to help me push it out of the intersection. You should have seen it. It was a sight to behold. Is that Jimmy Lakey pushing the car? Look at his fat ass. That's what they said. I know they said it. They thought it, but I pushed it. I was winded, but I managed. It worked out all right. All right, let's go to Michael Letts. By the way, Sherry Cree has arrived, one of our great sponsors of the show, homeswithsherry.com. This is the time if you want to sell your home in Colorado or you want to buy a home in Colorado, you got to talk to Sherry. Get that strategery together. Get your program together. We've talked about this with Sherry. She's on with us every Friday. She's in the house here at Casbar Cigar in Lafayette for the live road show today. And we talked about that sometimes she's known sellers that waited a little bit longer to sell a home, and their selling price ended up being thousands or tens of thousands of dollars less than what it could have been because they waited. So if you're looking to sell your home, you're in Colorado, you got to talk to Sherry. Homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com. Go to the website, check it out. If you have a child, or maybe you're a first-time home buyer and you think Colorado is totally unaffordable because of the world we live in and you're never going to be able to buy a home, talk to Sherry and let her help you or help your kids or your grandkids figure out how they could possibly become first-time home buyers. Make sure you look out to them, talk to Sherry and get that strategery together. Homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com. Somebody's asking, was I pushing the car in a blue shirt or a green shirt? I have a green shirt on today. Anybody notice that? No, first comment about a green shirt. I always wear blue shirts, and I wore a green one today just to tick everybody off. My one screwdriver is not going to be able to fix my car. I do have a screwdriver at my house. One that I found. I found it. I don't know where it came from. I had a guy that come change out all the smoke alarms at my house. One cold morning last year, 2 years ago, every smoke alarm disconnected. It started beeping all over the house. And guess what I did? I called a friend and said, can you help me? And he came over he was going to replace all the smoke alarms because they're all connected. And they all go off. And he says, you have a screwdriver? I didn't bring the right one. And, what's that? I lost my mic. You can't hear me? It's on. Do you hear me now? I can hear me. Do it again. Yeah, I'm on. It says I'm on. Yeah, I think I'm on. Anyway, he said, don't bring me a butter knife, and I didn't. I found a screwdriver, and I kept that screwdriver set aside. All right, let's bring in Michael Letts. Sorry, I got distracted there. They thought my mic was out. It says it's on. All right, Michael Letts, welcome to the program, sir. How are you?
Well, welcome. It's always good to be with you, Jimmy. And I'm impressed with that green shirt. We put a couple little stars on each collar. I might make you look like Fidel Castro.
So for those of you here, Michael Letts says, if I put some stars on my left shoulder, I might look like Fidel Castro wearing a green shirt today. That hurts a little bit. I don't know what that means. Although I do have a cigar like Fidel.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Fidel.
You're playing the part well. You really are.
Yeah. Michael Letts, how the heck are you, sir? Good to have you. We're going to do this in your state soon, the Lakey Unleashed Road Show. We're going to come out to see you.
Well, looking forward to it, quite frankly. We got a lot of places to cover, and I tell you, Jimmy, it's always a privilege to be with you. You just you got a military appearance today. That's why I made that comment. You really do. You ought to take advantage of it. You look like you're authoritarian today.
I do look like an authoritarian. I'm ruling this room with an iron fist. If it moves again, I'm going to beat that. Yeah, I'm going to shoot you. Michael Letts, so let's talk about the crime that's happening in Minnesota, sir. Don Lemon's being investigated by the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division, as are a lot of protesters. Give me your thoughts, sir. Were there criminal acts committed by invading that church on Sunday?
I don't think there's any question there were. I mean, it's the FACE Act, the Klan, the Ku Klux Klan Act. put it this way: there are definitely criminal violations that occurred. You say, well, what is the outlook? The outlook is this: it depends on who you're asking, Jimmy. If this had been Joe Biden's administration, he would have laughed and said that was perfectly acceptable, perfectly legal, and the right thing to do. But we obviously know what the law says, and we know it's not, and we know it was directed specifically to target our law enforcement officers, and you don't do that in a house of worship, Jimmy. That's just uncalled for.
Yeah. Don Lemon thinks that it was his free speech, his right to press. I don't know, but walking in, interrupting a church service, private property. People forget that the freedom of speech and the freedom to protest doesn't mean you can do that on private property. That means in the public square, you have a right to say what you want, hold up the sign you want, but you can't walk on a private property, disrupt a private meeting, and try to pretend that that's your free speech.
Well, and you look at the basis behind it, Jim. There's only one reason to go in there, and that was for intimidation. And that was trying to create a fear factor for the congregants. And that is what the Ku Klux Klan Act barred. That's what they kept made illegal back then when the Klan was trying to intimidate people from doing anything that the federal government was asking them to do. It's the same principle here. That's why they passed the FACE Act for abortions, clinics, et cetera, et cetera. Same principle. And what I think is ironic, Jimmy, is now that it's conservatives versus a liberal, they don't want you to pursue it. But if it were a liberal that had been victimized by this, then of course they'd be crying tears of, streams of tears and demanding immediate action. We got to stop this hypocrisy. If you're going to uphold the law, then uphold the law.
Michael, I said earlier, I wish that the administration would start releasing the names of those that are being arrested and charged in Minneapolis, in Minnesota. We need to start knowing who they are, how many have been arrested. We keep hearing every night there's protests. ICE is picking people up. What are the charges? How many people do we know have been picked up in Minneapolis for the crimes?
Over 2,000 so far.
Over 2,000 have been arrested.
Correct.
What are the charges? Are these the people like the George Floyd rioters that are getting released immediately at the time?
It's a combination, not just the protesters. There's over 2,000 people who we've picked up because of their illegal immigrants that have criminal records as well. So the point we're making here is not only are we picking up protests, we're charging them with everything from obstruction of justice to disorderly conduct. We're also, you're not curtailing our mission to make the streets safer in Minneapolis. I mean, we're going to do our job, period. And in fact, the more you seem to want to impede us, the more in tune we are to making sure we get the job done in a more proficient way. We're going to get more of them done because of it.
Yeah. So the 2,000, those are the illegals, or those the protesters that have been arrested? I want to know the protesters. Yes, I want to know the number of illegals. They're starting to release that some of these are criminals and child molesters and rapists and murderers. But what about these protesters, these agitators? So what are they? How many of those arrests in Minneapolis have been them, and what have been charged with?
Well, from a federal standpoint, it's much less than the 2,000. Most of those are the illegal immigrants. But, from our standpoint, when we're arresting, we're on federal charges, because you realize now that the state and local have been ordered to stand down, and they're not charging them with anything.
Yeah. Federal charges. What would those charges be? How long would these people need to go to jail? That's what I'm getting at. These folks need to go to jail.
Federal charges, obstruction of justice and things along those lines can vary anywhere from 1 to 5 years.
Wow.
This is not a misdemeanor.
Yeah. Michael Letts, I appreciate you hopping in here. Again, Michael Letts, investusa.com or .org. I guess both work?
Yes, sir.
Both will work. Michael, I want these people to be perp walked. I want to know their names. On the truth about Renee Good, there's still some video camera footage that has not been released. I think it's of her wife, and that was filmed before. What about that investigation? I know that's a federal investigation, not a state investigation. Give us the insight from your contacts in the Department of Justice. Where are things at there?
Well, we're pursuing that. We're trying to make sure that the American people understand it's being as objective as possible. It is not Homeland Security or ICE that's investigating itself. It's the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The FBI has lead on that. People say, well, why did you not let the state do it? Now, I understand the logic here, Jimmy. You're asking why the state or local are not doing the investigation. The same people that are ordered to stand down and not assist an officer in need. Does that not show prejudicial viewpoint or not? Why would you want somebody that's been ordered to stand down to not be involved at all, to oversee an investigation that could determine the future of the officer involved?
There's been talk about President Trump. He says he can. He says he might. He has not yet invoked the Insurrection Act there in Minneapolis and in Minnesota. Do you think the president should invoke the Insurrection Act, or do you think he will invoke the Insurrection Act, letting federal troops go in and solve this problem?
Well, I will tell you, the president is committed to making sure that it is the last resort. Now, he and I are a little different there. I just go ahead and let's finish the job and get it over with. But I can tell you this, Jimmy, we gave them over the weekend to make sure that our federal agents had the opportunity to try to bring this under control. It's not that they're not working very diligently in doing so, but what are the results? That's what we're interested in. What are the results? Now you have dissidents or, protesters carrying long-range rifles. And, I'm the biggest proponent of the Second Amendment. You know that. But if you're going to carry a long-range rifle into what we call a hot zone, you got two reasons for doing so. You're more than likely going to use it. Now, what are those two reasons? Either you're defending yourself or you're going to use it for nefarious purposes. Well, I can tell you, if you're talking about defending yourself, it's not ICE agents that are coming after you. So that's a invalid reason for carrying it. If you're using it because you're going to try to intimidate or threaten federal officers, that's a recipe for disaster. And that's a very poor judgment call. So that's what's happened over the weekend. You've got them doing that. And the second thing is, of course, what we just talked about. We're now getting to the point where we feel like we can raid church services. That's never going to stand. We are never going to, in this country, allow mobs to circulate around and disrupt religious services or anything else. We're not governed by mobs. We are a nation of law. The president has been over backwards. He's doing so again this morning. Try to give him a little extra time, but that's why we have our troops already in position, Jimmy. They just need the word. Word won't take more than a couple minutes to relay, and we'll be cleaning this mess up real quickly.
I put on the screen something that I think is fantastic, because it triggers the minds of the week left. That in 2015, Barry Hussein Obama, who's the Lord and Savior of many on the left, he awarded Tom Homan the Presidential Award of Service for making America safer at ICE. There's the image of Barry doing that. 10 years later, liberals want to kill Tom Homan. It's the same Tom, but it's a different Democrat party. There's the screenshot there of the presentation of the award. What's happened to the Democrat Party in the last 10 years? They were giving him an award. Barack Obama was known as the deporter-in-chief. What happened to that party? They used to celebrate deportations. Now they do not.
They become very gullible. What do I mean by that? Well, most of these are paid activists, okay? You've got your George Soroses, among others, that are paying and funding these kind of revolts and these riots. And then you've got a bunch of white female Democrats who are, I'm just going to call it like it is, Jimmy. I'm sorry. I'll let you deal with all the calls that come in afterwards after I get off the show. But, you've got all that, for some reason, miss the
fat lesbians is what we have going on there. Fat lesbians with blue hair.
Exactly. They missed their opportunity to show that maternal instinct. So now they've turned that maternal instinct into taking care of a bunch of thugs and murderous illegal immigrants. Why they chose that is beyond me. I think they've got a screw loose. Well, they probably got two of them loose, actually. But that's what they're turning it on to now, and they think they're showing that they're being mama bear, but they just picked the wrong person. They picked the wrong entity to do so. It clawed them for wanting to have that maternal instinct, but boy, they sure missed the boat when they decided where to apply it to.
Yeah. I wish they'd just take their Subaru Outbacks and go home. That's what I just wish they would just move right along, take the Subarus and head on home. You mentioned the paid agitators, and I think most of these folks there's probably some real well-meaning people that are holding sign up. I respect that. And hold a sign up all you want. That's your free speech to do it. But when you're out there blocking traffic, you're going through training to do this, you're getting paid to be out there freezing your tatooties off I don't know what a tatootie is, but they're freezing them off. They've been frozen like a wart. Freeze your tatooties off. You're freezing your tatooties off out there. I'm going to stick with that word, tatooties. And you're getting paid to do so. Is the Department of Justice going to look into any of these folks? But, are they declaring this as income? Are they hiding this income? They've got to be getting paid for this.
We're already looking into it, Jimmy. And one of the things we're looking into it is RICO. I mean, this is a well-coordinated movement all across the country. And that's what the RICO laws were established for. And quite frankly, it's time we implement them. And I can't think of a better scenario than to doing it here, Jimmy. Our future is at stake. Our children and our grandchildren's future is at stake. I thought it was interesting. I saw a little clip one of the agents sent to me where they pulled over a mom who was trying to harass, follow, call where they're at. Her first defense was, I'm just a mom. I'm just a mom. Please don't arrest me. And fortunately, they just said, okay, we're going to give you a break. Go home. Don't ever let you see you again. But that's, I think, what you have. You have a lot of people that don't understand the issue, that are thinking they buying the narrative they're doing something to help when actually they're impeding the law. And when they get called to the carpet, they run.
Yeah. Michael, that's always a pleasure to have you on the program. If folks want to give to your organization, you're trying to keep ICE agents safe, local police officers safe. There's a lot of crazies out there that would like them not to go home safe at night. You're providing them active shooter vest and gear to keep them safe on the streets. A lot of police departments don't provide the full protective gear they needed. That's what your organization does. InvestUSA.org. That's the website, is it not?
You are correct. Let me add to what you're saying, Jimmy. We certainly are making public now an offer to, regardless of the fact that they're treating ICE agents poor, they're pumping the Milwaukee Police Department. The police chief should resign in disgrace, quite frankly. But we're more than willing to make sure those officers that are on the street had necessary gear, and we're willing to make an offer that anyone that needs, any of these police officers that need an active shooter vest, we're happy to donate one to them. A little interesting side note, Jim, I just had one of my officers call me in the field. There have been 24 Milwaukee police officers that have resigned. Out of those 24, 18 have signed up and joined ICE. So it just goes to show you the guys on the street know what's going on. They understand that they're sworn to uphold the law. And regardless of the politics of it, they're going to do the right thing.
Now, you said Milwaukee. Did you mean Minneapolis or is it?
No, I mean Minneapolis. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm all for it. I mean, ICE could use all the help they can get. Milwaukee,
and
it.
we'll do that. Hey, this problem is occurring all across Minnesota. So any agency in that area needs the assistance, feel free to contact us. We're happy to assist.
InvestUSA.org, InvestUSA.org. Michael, that's always a pleasure. Look forward to our next conversation. Folks should go to InvestUSA.org, throw you a couple of bucks and help the officers. Everybody wants to go home safe at night. I want all the protesters to go home safe at night. I want the protesters to go home safe at night. Everybody go home safe at night. Even the illegals, I want them to go home safe every night to whatever country they come from. I'm all for safety. That's it.
I agree. You know, one of the things I'm going to laugh at, Jimmy, as we close is I want to make sure you and I do our own show together in Cuba when Cuba is free. So
when Cuba's free, we'll do a show together. Now we're going to do a road show together, right? I understand we're doing a road show together. So, all right, Michael Letts, it's a pleasure, and I'm going to see if I can get some stars on my shirt. So as you said, I look like Fidel Castro.
That's right. I said you drink that cigar. We'll go down to Cuba when we free them, and we're going to have a blast.
Let's go free them today because they get good cigars down there. Let's do it. Michael, that's a pleasure, my friend. Thanks for hopping on. InvestUSA.org, InvestUSA.org. If you're joining us late, we're broadcasting live for the anniversary of the inauguration of President Donald John Trump. It's a Tuesday morning, the 20th day of January, live from the Casbar Cigar in Lafayette, our first of many road shows across the country this year. We appreciate all of you tuning in. Thousands and thousands of earballs and eyeballs will hear and see this show throughout the day. And some of you watching it right now, some are live here at the Casbar Cigar Lounge in Lafayette. Please welcome to the program R.P. Newman. He's a retired recon Marine, ground combat veteran, author of 17 books and the forthcoming book called Iran's War of Annihilation. He's been a guest analyst on the Fox News and the Newsmax and other shows. He's a terrorism consultant, and I'm sure of all those accolades, there's nothing more exciting for him to be here, right here with Lakey. I'm sure that's the case. R.P. Newman, I call you Gunny Bob. Welcome to the show, sir.
Yeah, what do you want?
I have
some questions for you, sir.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Number one, have you looked at the riffraff that Casbar Cigars let in here this morning?
They have very low standards. Yeah, it's some low standards.
And we like that. Question number two, where the hell is my free cigar? Casbar Cigar.
I promised you a free cigar.
Witnesses.
I did. I promise you. Afterwards, you got to do good, perform. That measures the quality of cigar that you're going to receive.
Does that involve dancing?
Does that involve? I'm sorry, his mic was off the whole time. I didn't push him up. Sorry, my bad. He's on now.
Does that involve dancing?
Dancing? Yes. Producer
Yes.
Chad will dance for you. It's a lap dance.
That's great. Okay. And another question that's very important here. Are you in on the real estate deal that I'm developing in Greenland? because that's what President Trump's really after. They have huge codfish up there, as well as Atlantic halibut, and it's pronounced halibut. I'm from Maine, not halibut. Okay?
Not
This
halibut.
is
I heard that over
important,
there.
You know, but
Halibut.
when you look at all the news,
How
that's
do you say
happening,
scallops?
scallops?
Scallops, yeah.
That's right.
I ordered scallops one time in the Northeast, and they looked at me as if I was a foreigner.
Yes, where are you at? Like
Scallops.
Legal Seafood in Boston or something up in the
Yeah.
up in
Do
the
you
North
mean,
End.
sir,
if they have one
scallops?
there.
And I said, yeah, I mean scallops.
Yeah, right. Of course, but fried clams are better. But we got to get in on this deal. My fishing lodge is going to be opening soon. As soon as I get it built and buy land, not necessarily in that order. But President Trump is very interested up there in Greenland. People are freaking out because of the way he negotiates. If you ever read his book, Art of the Deal, this is how he negotiates. Yeah. He starts high and then works his way down. And it's very important for the Golden Dome system. Many analysts believe. Some say, "Oh no, you don't really need Greenland." One thing that's also breaking in the news, in part because of me, but is a company out of Israel called Lafayette Advanced Defense Systems, and they have what is now called the Iron Beam. It is deployed throughout Israel. This thing is a laser with a max capacity of 240 kilowatts, and it can intercept even hypersonic missiles. It would be great to have those up there. I know you don't have any hypersonic missiles yourself, but if you're in the market,
I'm thinking if you wrote the Art of the Deal and that's your negotiating tactics, and now you can take those measures with the U.S. military as your backing. I mean, it's no longer just bluster in a big bank account. It's like, I've got nukes. You're going to do this. I mean, the Art of the Deal with the military as your background, he's got to be loving this.
Well, he is, and again, this is his system. We'll see how it goes. Others in the administration have assured everyone there's not going to be a military invasion. President Trump is not going to invade Greenland. Denmark owns that, and when you look at NATO, that would be frowned upon. But again, this is simply how he negotiates. Yeah. And when you look at all the metric tons of rare earth minerals that are available, we want to compete with China on those. China has the biggest load of those, and those materials aren't just for your cell phone; they're for defense applications as well.
As a terrorism consultant and expert kind of in threats to America, we hear about the shipping lanes, we hear about Russia and China. Is that a real threat up there? Is it really about the minerals, or is it a real threat, that Arctic Sea and shipping corridors?
It's a potential threat. It's economically as well. When you look at the two routes that go up there, so it's strategically located that way as well. And we'll just have to see how this one shakes out. There's a lot of other things, of course, happening around the world. The president's very busy. In my view, he's the best president since the great Ronald Reagan. And he has goals. He's come through on an awful lot of promises that he made on the campaign trail. And a lot of people aren't liking that, namely the left side of politics in America. And we're seeing the result here and abroad.
Yeah. But the voice of R.P. Newman, if you're listening later, thousands of people hear this show later in the day and watch the show later. Some of you are watching it live. R.P. Newman is my guest. We'll talk about his upcoming book. It's called Iran's War of Annihilation. Let's go to Iran. Let's talk about that. I know you've been on some Newsmax and Fox News shows about this. The president said, don't cross the red line. Don't kill people. The president said help is on the way to the Iranian people. Here we are a week and a half, almost 2 weeks later, and we have, to my knowledge, at least publicly, not taken any move to help the people of Iran who are on the streets. What's happening right now? What's happened over the last 2 weeks in Iran?
Well, he hasn't made any public moves to help them. He has promised to help the USS Abraham Lincoln, supercarrier, and her battle group. Yesterday was traversing the Malacca Strait off Singapore and running up through there. It's going to take several more days to get there. Are there assets on the ground that we've already positioned in case the president gives the order to kinetically, in some fashion, assist the protesters who are trying to overthrow the 12er Shia regime run by the supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei? And he has options. And many people are wondering, like, okay, but Iran has options as well. Yes, they do. One of the things that did not happen this past summer during the dust-up that we, Israel, and Iran had together, as well as some British warships were involved as well, Well, when you look at things like that, you have to look at their Navy. And the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which is the terrorist group responsible for organizations like the Quds Force, et cetera, who operate at various levels in 87 countries. Doesn't mean they're operating all there right now. They have operated at various levels when it comes to operational art. And so that entire Navy is intact, and they have a lot of vessels. Do we have countermeasures? Yeah, we do. We have a lot. But right now, we've noticed that they've been moving a lot of sea mines out of their depots closer to the vessels that can launch these mines. And we've seen what happens when the Persian Gulf gets mined. It can affect oil prices and a lot of other things. And so something we're looking at there as well. But our capabilities are outstanding. We have the finest Navy in the world. And there are Marines in the neighborhood over there. There's no Marine Expeditionary Unit there, a MU, at the moment, but they're readily deployable, and we also have flyaway capability.
In your prediction, would there be boots on the ground in Iran? Is this going to be an all-aerial attack and drones and missiles?
Selective targets when it comes to ground. And you don't always have to do that either, because we have other methods. But boots on the ground in a place like Karg Island, which is the main oil export facility in the Persian Gulf for the Iranian terrorist regime. That is something of great interest. And you look at ports and cities like Bandar Abbas, which is right close to the Strait of Hormuz, the entrance, to the Persian Gulf. That's a situation as well. But all manner of very smart people are planning this. And Iran is nervous. The Ayatollah is nervous. What's left of the generals that Iran had until June, they're nervous as well, because in Venezuela, the president demonstrated our prowess there. Does that automatically transfer to spectacular no KIA, no killed in action results in Iran? No, it does not. Even not quite as advanced weaponry can kill you. And the Department of War under Secretary Hegseth is very aware of this, and there's a lot of planning going on. Options. One of the keys to warfare. Options.
The protesters, the freedom fighters, whatever we want to call them, they have seemingly disbanded their protest on the streets. Obviously, they'd still like to be free. What do we know about what happened to all these people on the streets? They had to get back to work? Were they intimidated by the regime? What happened?
The Ministry of Intelligence and Security, MOIS or MOIS, for Iran is arresting staggering numbers. The prisons and torture cells, real ones, very bad, are in full operation right now. And there have been so many thousands of protesters captured. And yes, Iran appears to have dialed back the massacres in the streets. Just a couple of days ago, Iran admitted via the Ayatollah himself that 5,000 protesters had been slaughtered. Other estimates show much higher, somewhere between 6,500 and around 15 or 16,000. What's the real number? We don't exactly know yet, but the Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency, is on the ground there, as a lot of Iranian generals and some politicians found out the hard way. And they're doing amazing things like helping with hacking Iranian state television that they did just 2 or 3 days ago, when everyone's watching TV, state TV, and next thing you know, the exiled crown prince Reza Pahlavi, son of Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, who was overthrown in 1979, and all of a sudden he appears on the TV for several minutes, and so that's guerrilla marketing right there.
That's fantastic. I've seen him on Fox News as well. So he's
yes,
been
indeed. He wants to be the next Shah, and the my sources very clearly indicate President Trump is not entirely sold on him at all. There are some others in the running.
Okay. What's the timeline do you see here? Then I want to talk about how they are treating these people, because President Trump said he congratulated Iran on not doing the public hanging, but it sounds like privately off the scene, they're doing some very dastardly things. So they're still thumbing their nose at what President Trump said, stop killing people. What's the timeline? What's going to happen here?
The timeline depends entirely on the intelligence that is developed in the coming days. That's going to help the president and his some of his cabinet members and some generals make the best possible decision. There's no good solution here. Warfare is funny that way, and that's just the situation now. We have to see what develops.
Yeah. Again, if you're listening later in the day, this you only hear the audio. That's R.P. Newman. Maybe you've seen him on Newsmax. Maybe you've seen him on Fox News. He's a known terrorism consultant, retired recon Marine, and also has an upcoming book called Iran, the forthcoming Iran's War of Annihilation, the forthcoming book by R.P. Newman. You were talking to me yesterday that you mentioned Mossad is on the ground, and everybody's trying to figure out what they did to all these protesters on the streets. They I guess, probably shot some of them down, but they were shooting a lot of kind of things, tear gas or something. And the speculation is it wasn't just neat pepper spray. This was some pretty bad chemicals.
Yeah, and there is speculation. That's the right word, too, because I haven't seen any absolute proof, although there are certain people on the ground trying to get that forensic evidence that they used Adamsite, a chemical weapon. It's usually not deadly, but what it is an incapacitating agent that can make you vomit and do a lot of other bad things, but it also has delayed effects. And one of the things you look for, if you want to prove that something was used, you must collect that forensic evidence. And there are organizations of folks on the ground there trying to get a hold of the clothing that some of the people who say they were hit with a chemical weapon, you have to get those. Then you have to get that clothing out of Iran to a laboratory in Israel or somewhere else to prove that, they're using very dangerous chemical weapons. But you got to keep in mind how we were bitten quite badly 2003, 2004, when we claimed to have intelligence that Saddam was fully ready, willing, and able to deploy mass chemical weapon attacks against U.S. forces when we went in to remove Saddam Hussein. And those weapons were never found in anywhere near the numbers and the deployment state, meaning to forward units that have the ability to deploy those chemical weapons. We never saw that. Was one factory hit that had nerve gas? Yes. And we had some guys who suffered because of that. But none of those weapons. And I was on the ground there for the attack during the Gulf War, first of all. And not that long after the attack on Iran, I went back as a contractor and talked to a lot of people there working at the Iraqi counterinsurgency school. That's where I was teaching counterinsurgency to the Iraqi military and the counterterrorism bureau just north of Baghdad. So you must examine that as well. You don't want to say you know something is a fact when you don't.
What did you talk about Afghanistan, Iraq, the last 20 years we were entangled over there. What are the lessons that now President Trump saying, okay, I may have to take action in Iran, but I'm not going to repeat these mistakes that got us in battle for 20 plus years and cost us a lot of losses there. What are the lessons that the president's paying attention to? What should he be paying attention to so we don't repeat the mistakes of Afghanistan and Iraq?
Two things pop to mind. He's paying attention to the intelligence, as I just said, and also you have to understand what the objective is going to be. And it has to be what you and your generals and the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, what they believe to be an obtainable objective. We lost Afghanistan. What was our objective there? And was it attainable? Hard to believe, but some people aren't real keen on, yes, we want to have a democracy and a republic just like America. It's just not the case. You've been around the world, I've been around the world, and you go into third world countries, and sometimes the people just don't want that. You have to look at their culture, their history, their values. Would we love everyone to be free? Yes. Is that reality? No, it isn't.
No. Again, R.P. Newman, if anybody here in the room has questions, or anybody in the chat rooms across America has questions for Mr. Newman, we're going to let you ask those questions here today. And if you just producer chat, spot them out of their question, we'll get them up here. If anybody's got a question for R.P. Newman about Iran and what's happening there. Also, we got a question for Laura Carno. We'll put her on the spot. If you want to talk about the state of Colorado or anything like that, we can put everybody on the spot here. Talk about your brand new book. It's coming up. It's called Iran's War of Annihilation. Give us the foretaste of such glory.
This book, I already have the publisher lined up. This is not one of those books where you publish it yourself and then you have to do everything. I actually use regular publishers for all of my books. And the subtitle is The Inside Story of Iran, Israel, America, and the UK at the Edge of Armageddon. And it covers 1979 to 2026. So many things have been happening in the shadows. Remarkable things, from the use of Iran using proxies around the world to conduct their business, and as a terrorist group. And we're going to look at we're going to look at causation, and chapter 9 in this 85,000 word book is going to have some very close looks at the future. What might happen? What can Iran do? What is Iran willing to do? And simply because you can do something, because you have this weapon or you have these people or these terrorist groups, doesn't mean that you actually will deploy them. Do I expect Iran to continue with their acts of terror around the world? Absolutely, 100%. From August to December of last year, Iran sent billions of dollars, a huge increase in funding for Hezbollah, and we have a long history with Hezbollah, starting with the bombing in October of 1983 of the Marine Amphibious Unit Barracks at Beirut International Airport. That was Hezbollah, and the whole thing was funded by Iran.
Somebody's mentioning, I just saw the word pop up. I don't know what they're saying, may be irrelevant, but they said cyber war. We have cyber warfare. We have the warfare. Is it possible to change things in Iran in this situation just with cyber war taking over the televisions? Or is kinetic war the only way we're going to be able to solve the real problem?
No, you can't use just, and in this case, you're probably not going to just use air power as we did with Operation Midnight Hammer when we sent the B-2s to visit some nuclear sites in Iran. These are complex operations. If we go in there kinetically, it'll absolutely involve a heavy cyber factor to it. It's not going to be the only thing. And that is something that a lot of people are considering right now, and it's being war gamed to hell by the Pentagon and other organizations were involved. Like, what can we bring? What comprehensive measures can we bring to not only overthrow the regime, if that's what the president says to do, but establish what comes later? In revolutionary warfare, what comes after the revolution has sometimes in history proven to be the more difficult aspect of the operation.
Yeah. I keep hearing we're not looking for regime change. We're not going to change the regime. We just want those guys out. It's going to leave a vacuum. How do we avoid the problem of regime change? We haven't been good on that in the past.
No, we're trying it out right now in Venezuela. We'll see how that works out. That ball is very much in play, but you have to look at the future here and what it's going to take. One of the things, Jimmy, that it's going to take is support of the American people. And when if we were to overthrow and you talk about or conduct regime change, and you look at, okay, what about the power vacuum? The IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, is deeply woven into Iranian society. It is spectacular how much they're woven in there. There are no indications so far that the IRGC would then we lost? Oh, okay. And pack up their trash and go home. There's no indication of that. That is going to really play hard when it comes to what comes next.
Last question. Your future book coming out is called Iran's War of Annihilation. We'll talk about that again. When you think it's going to come out? You've written 17 other books. You mentioned Operation Midnight Hammer. We took out the nuclear capabilities of Iran. What changed on the ground? Are there other big targets that we should be looking at? And how did Midnight Hammer affect the current situation of Iranian preparedness against to stand up for itself?
The command and control elements and things that are related to command and control, including people by name, possibly in their house watching what they think is or at least for the moment, is state-run television. And that's one of the things you're going to look at. But also, how's it going to affect things economically when it comes to international commerce, especially with oil and other petroleum products going back and forth inside the Persian Gulf? You have to look at that as well. This is it's not going to be super easy in my estimation. Would we be successful? I believe so, provided our intelligence is great and we have not only an actionable objective, but one that has some legs to it. We can accomplish it, and it's not going to cause extreme problems in the future.
Any questions in the house for R.P. Newman? If so, we'll let them be known now. Any questions in the house? Any questions in the house? All shy. I don't like it.
Well, they're all waiting for their free cigars too, but you were clear yesterday, they're not getting them. Only I am. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, I think not to name names, but the initials are Padron 4000, and I'm just saying. And was it one cigar or was it a box?
It was one. We'll clarify that it was one cigar, sir.
How many people here think it was a box? I share. Oh, look at all the hands go up. Oh, okay. Yep. Well, lies can be very valuable. I mean, just ask AOC, Pelosi, Bubba Clinton. I did not have sex with that woman. Yeah. Okay.
I think you've conducted psychological warfare here.
No, I wouldn't do that. Yeah, it's important. You got to say cool stuff like, remember, no matter where you go, there you are. See, you throw that out there, people are going, wait a minute, what did he say?
Profundity. You're the king of profundity.
You said profundity. Wow.
That's a real word.
Yeah. Niels used ribald, but he pronounced it ribald. I don't know how you really say that. And I was a journalism major in college. Jeepers.
Well, thank you, R.P. Newman. When is the new book out?
We expect it out later this year. I'll finish it up in a month. Again, 9 chapters, 85,000 words, a foreword by an extremely well-known retired Marine with more combat history than Genghis Khan, or as John Kerry would say in congressional testimony, Gengis Khan. I don't know. I think you should have John Kerry on. He's still alive, isn't he?
Is he still alive? I think he is still alive.
Okay. Well, I don't see much of him, so that's good.
Well, it's good. If he is alive, you're glad we're all glad we never saw much of John Kerry, especially in the presidency. He could have become the president.
Yeah, he was a little close.
Yeah, a long face, kind of a horse thing.
He does. He always looks so sad. That's it. I mean, he's one of the richest men in the world. Why is he sad?
He married into it.
Well, no one said the man is always stupid.
Yeah, he's not always. He shows the right married up financially.
He's a capitalist.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Can you be a capitalist and a commie rat bastard at the same time? He seems to be pulling it off.
I think he is. He's pulling it off. A commie and a commie rat bastard and a capitalist. He did it. R.P. Newman, the book. You got 17 other books. What are they about?
A lot of fly fishing, hunting, survival. One of my latest books came out from Paladin Press in 2011, Gorillas in the Mist. I ripped off Diane Fossey. She wrote Gorillas in the Mist. I wrote Gorillas in the Mist with 2 R's. Like yes, I did, but
I said
unfortunately she was murdered.
You said gorillas.
I kind of like that. Yeah, that's one of them. It was very popular when it came out, and it was good. And it was I was one of the first people to let everyone know that Hezbollah, and this is back in, I wrote it in 2010. It was published January 1st, 2011, was that Hezbollah was long involved and is still on the ground in Venezuela, involved in the drug and the human trafficking trade, among other things.
Any prognostication on Venezuela before we go?
Let's see. I think that we'll see some more fishing available there, especially for Payara. This is the vampire fish. It's got big teeth like John Kerry. And I think we got a guy sitting here right now who's going to go with me in there. He's armed too, Roger, and we're going to go down and we're going to catch Payara. That's my prognostication there.
And with your new fishing camp that's going to be in Greenland.
In Greenland, that's right.
That's going to be exciting.
You should see the size of the codfish up there in the halibut. They're absolutely huge. They're bigger than you.
And if the Chinese come or the Russian, you're going to be right there on the front line to ward them off.
No, I'm going to be teaching them fly fishing first. Get them relaxed, not paying attention, and then accidents happen.
Accidents happen.
You fell in the water. Oh, you're cold? Here, hold this rock.
Do you see what Denmark, like they added an extra bobsled to protect Greenland, and the Europeans sent like 13 people over there to hold off America?
Yeah, but it's an up-armored bobsled. It's not a slick, meaning it's unarmed. It's got weaponry on it. Yeah. Just lay in front of it and let it run you over. You'll see weapons. There's two of them.
Those Chinese and Russians are going to stay away from Greenland now. They got a new bobsled.
That's right. And plus, I don't think they know how to fish well anyway.
Yeah. Gunny Bob, I call him. You call him R.P. Newman. His new latest book is coming, Iran's War of Annihilation. Thank you, sir, for the program. Thank you for your service to all of our veterans. We thank all of them for their service as well. And I appreciate you being here, sir.
My pleasure. Shoot to maim.
Yeah. Don't forget, I owe you a cigar.
You think I would forget? You're so funny. You've been working on your material. That's really good.
Profundity.
Ooh, I'm going to use that tomorrow.
Profundity. Yeah. I don't know if I can spell it, but I like saying it. Profundity.
Well, I was the 1970 8th grade Thomaston Grammar School in Thomaston, Maine boys spelling champion. I was beaten by Kim Turner because I couldn't spell banquet. I have PTSD in part because of that.
Wow. Banquet. Just spell it Coors. Coors. Coors.
I know some of the Coors family, like Brad Coors. I've taken him fishing around. Michael Floorwax. We go fishing around the world. We catch big fish.
It's got it. R.P. Newman. The new book is the Iran's War of Annihilation. All of his other 17 books, you ought to go get those as well. And it would be good reading in the bathroom, wherever you like to read at.
And they have pictures.
They have pictures. I need that one. I want the ones with pictures. All right, ladies and gentlemen, wrapping it up from Casbar Cigar. Of course, we've had Miss Laura Carno here. There's Miss Laura Carno sitting there. There's R.P. Newman leaving. The crowds are here. We got bacon wrapped cinnamon rolls. I don't know if there's any left. I'm going to find out. Ladies and gentlemen, Brother Leroy has also put together a fine song for us. For the departure of the Lakey Road Show, an actual closure. Don't forget, if you feel it in your heart, move to the Lord. I'd like you to go to the website, Rivers Promise. You see the logo behind me. That's a charity work the producer Chad and myself work on and participate in. I started the organization. Make a donation today. And I do this again. Anybody who makes a $50 donation today, we will send you in the mail one of these red mugs that say Rivers Promise on them. And if you're here, I've got red mugs. If you want to make a donation, $50, boom, we give you a red echo. Did you hear that in my ears? So, I heard it around the world. So riverspromise.org, riverspromise.org. Thanks to Sherry Cree, one of our great sponsors. Homeswithsherry.com. Homeswithsherry.com. Make sure you get that strategy to sell your home, buy a house in Colorado. And if she's not in your area, by the way, she'll give you a free referral. That's the service she offers. Homeswithsherry.com. We'll hear from her on the Friday edition of the show. Until we meet again, my friends, don't forget, Brother Leroy's got a great song for you to wind it up. But right now, God bless you. God bless America. Thanks, Casbar Cigars, for letting us have. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Clayton, for letting us be a part and invade the shop this morning. I'll see you tomorrow morning. We'll be right back here. Lakey Unleashed. God bless you. God bless America. Peace. I'm out of here. Hey, don't forget, Brother Leroy's got a song for you. Don't go anywhere.
Lakey Unleashed. Coming at you left from Casbar Cigar. Oh, we feel alive. We say thank you, coast to coast and round the world, for the Lakey Unleashed Road Show. Unleashed and unfiltered, let it roll. From Casbar Cigar tonight, every heart, every soul in sight. We say thank you for the Lakey Unleashed Road Show. Oh, we thank our guests right now. Can I get an amen tonight? Michael, let's know. to hear what you heard, yeah. Oh, hit that subscribe, yeah. We say thank you, coast to coast and round the world, for the Lakey